Hey you all, Farmer Jesse here. Since microbial inoculants are not just a big part of what I do as a farmer, they are also a big part of starting a farm in general when the microbial populations that you need for the kind of plants we grow may not be established. So today I'm going to make a combination microbial extract that I use. It is sort of the Arnold Palmer of microbial inoculants. Let's do it. First things first, if you're not subscribed to this channel, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you are subscribed, you're awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of take you through my little compost tea setup. It's not super complicated. It is not super expensive either. I think the whole thing, maybe with the worm bins, was probably over $100, but generally speaking, you could probably do this for under $100. So a few years back, we bought a worm bin, primarily because we wanted to run our really nice composts through a worm bin because what they do for the soil and what they can do to compost. So a situation may be that we make a thermophilic compost, like just your generic, it's got heated up to the right temperatures, a good compost, and then to make that even better, we run it through the worm bin because worms enrich compost quite a bit, and the soil. They're like little fertilizing machines. So we bought this from Uncle Jim's Worm Farm, and it's just a simple setup, and it was good for our kitchen, and I have dreams of ultimately expanding this operation, but the amount that I can get out of this small bin, here, let's check them out real quick. The amount of material that I get out of this small bin is incredible, and they are just super busy little guys. And anyway, this is going to be the main source for our microbial inoculant. We're going to use this 400 micron bag that I will put a link in the show notes for how to get all of this stuff. We're going to use some water, preferably non-chlorinated water. If you don't have non-chlorinated water, you can add some humic acid. Apparently that helps to neutralize the chlorine. We're also going to put in a little bit of fish hydrolysate, just a little bit. That's essentially a fish food, and we're going to bubble it with this pump here. I'll put the link for this in the description as well, just so you can check it out. It does up to 35 gallons, this size pump. You'd probably want to go up a little bit bigger, but this is the one that we use. And the other thing that I'm going to do here that makes it a little bit different from your average compost tea is that I'm going to make a actual compost tea. We're going to bubble it overnight. And then in the morning, I'm actually going to add more compost from the worm bins and just let that rest. So basically make a compost tea with a little bit of a compost extract. That's where I got the Arnold Palmer of microbial inoculants. So let's do that. I've got about a half a cup of compost of the vermicast in here. I'm going to add the what do you call this, ceramic bubbler into one of these of the 4 that I have is going to go into the bag itself, seal the bag, and I'm going to put that in the water. I also tie it off, not that it really matters, but I guess I don't want it kind of getting loose. I want to keep this relatively clean, just depending on what you're going to do with it. If you're going to put it through a sprayer, you don't want a bunch of stuff in there. Even if the sprayer has a good filter, you want to keep the water relatively clean. The sprayer that we use is the Petra HD 500 right now, which I did a video that mentioned that a couple weeks ago. But the other thing we're going to add is a little bit of fish hydrolysate, and not much. I'm basically going to go with a capful, which is roughly a tablespoon. I don't want a bunch. You don't need a ton of microbial fertilizer for this much compost tea. So the next step is actually going to be put the rest of the weights in there and bubble this overnight. Like I said, in the morning, right before we're getting ready to apply it, I'm going to add another bag with the same amount of compost, and I'm just going to let that sit there. I'm also going to kind of squeeze it out just to get those the hormones and all the other stuff that's actually in the vermicast in here. So I want a combination of the kind of tea and the extract, and then I'm going to apply that directly to the soil. It's not going to be a foliar spray in this case. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to bubble this overnight and then apply it in the morning. All right, so it's the next day. The next thing that we're gonna do is take basically the same amount of vermicast, and I've got another 400 micron bag. I'm gonna stick that in here, let it agitate for like 15 or so minutes, and this sort of extract tea combo is gonna be ready to use. I wanna emphasize why I'm using both the tea and the extract together, is that the tea kind of encourages more bacteria populations. The extract kind of encourages more fungal populations, and I do want a combo, especially for what I'm using it for, which is to kind of replenish the soil with good microbial life. And also you can see, you know, this little bit of froth on the top. That's fine. There's nothing wrong there. As long as it doesn't smell anaerobic, as long as it doesn't smell like manure, you're generally pretty good to go. And we're not bubbling this for like 2 days or anything. About 24 hours when we're going to use it. Now, for using it, you have lots of different options. We can put it in a sprayer. You can just directly drench the soil. The other thing that I do a lot is actually use this to dip an entire tray of plant starts inside of. So we'll take the plant starts right before they go out to the field. We'll dip the tray in. We'll let it soak for 5 or so minutes. Then we'll take that out and we'll plant those into the garden. It's just a great way to inoculate your soil and your plant starts with some good microbes going in. All right, so the finished product, we're all set to apply it. The next step, really, you don't have to do this. It depends on how you're going to apply it, but you can filter this. There are kind of two ways that are super simple for that. One is actually running it through an old piece of row cover. So if you have an old piece of row cover, you can just literally pour it through that into a bucket, maybe tie the row cover on top of the bucket and then just slowly pour it, and that'll get any little scraps out of there. So if you're running it through a sprayer of any sort, you don't want any chunks in there. It'll just clog your sprayer and make it take forever. The other thing is you can run it back through one of those micron bags. Just put the micron bag here and slowly pour it through. That's an easy way to do it. We do that too. But for our purposes, I'm going to be drenching the soil, so I probably will not need to filter it in this case. Other than that, you all, if you like this video, please like this video. Make sure to subscribe to the No-Till Growers channel. If you want more information about, you know, various composts and compost teas and that sort of stuff, I do talk about that a little bit in the Living Soil Handbook, which you can pick up at no-tillgrowers.com for pre-order. It comes out in July 2021. That's when we'll be sending them. But when you buy it from no-tillgrowers.com, the proceeds from that go to making content like this. So check that out. Otherwise, thanks for watching. We'll see you all later. Bye. Sorry, you're gonna have to give me a second. I should have thought of this element. I usually don't get them this tangled. As wet as fire here. Can fire be wet? Fire can be wet. So it just gets that little bit of Sorry, I've got like a peanut in my throat. Oh, I thought you said hold on. This is off to a good start.
We're rolling.
Okay. Hey, you all, Farmer Jesse here. Since